stop. Before you scroll past this video, I need you to hear something. Right now, today, something completely invisible is reaching into your wallet every single week, without your permission, without any announcement. And the scary part is, most people have absolutely no idea it is even happening. Your groceries cost more than they did last year. Your car costs more. Your rent costs more. Your electronics cost more. Your clothes cost more. And you have probably told yourself, it is just inflation, just the economy, just bad luck. But it is none of those things. There is a very specific, very deliberate policy mechanism that is quietly and systematically destroying the purchasing power of every dollar you earn. And it has a name: tariffs. Now, before you click away thinking this is a boring economics lesson, stay with me for just 30 more seconds, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why your money does not go as far as it used to, exactly how much it is costing your household every single year, and most importantly, the exact steps you can take starting today to stop the bleeding and get ahead. This is not theory, this is your actual money, and this is the video nobody making money from the current system wants you to watch. Let us get into it. First things first, what is a tariff in plain English? No economics degree, no jargon, just the truth. A tariff is a tax that the government charges on goods imported from another country. When a foreign company ships products into the United States, the government demands an additional payment at the border before those goods can enter the market. That payment is the tariff. Now here's the part that most news coverage conveniently skips over. The part that changes everything once you understand it. The tariff is not paid by the foreign country. Read that again. The tariff is paid by the American company or importer bringing those goods in. And that company does not absorb that cost and smile about it. It passes that cost directly to you, the consumer, through higher prices at the register. So when you hear the phrase "we are making other countries pay," what is actually happening in economic reality is that American businesses are paying the tariff at the border and then charging you more at the store to cover it. That is not a political opinion. That is the documented, consistent, historically verified mechanism of how tariffs work every single time they are applied. And once tariff rates reach historic highs across dozens of product categories, the impact on your daily purchasing power becomes substantial, real and growing every single month. Now you know what nobody told you. Now let us look at exactly where these tariffs are hitting your household the hardest, because I want this to be concrete. This is not abstract economics. This is your actual life. Category 1. Vehicles and auto parts. If you have bought a car recently, or needed any kind of repair work, you felt this one immediately and painfully. Tariffs on imported vehicles and components have pushed prices up significantly. The average car purchase now costs thousands more than it would have without tariffs in the picture. Category 2. Electronics and technology. Your phone, your laptop, your television, your home appliances. The overwhelming majority of these products, or the components inside them, come from countries facing heavy tariffs. Every device you buy today carries a hidden tariff premium in its price tag. Category 3. Clothing and footwear. Almost all major clothing brands manufacture overseas. When tariffs increase the cost of importing those goods, the prices on the rack go up. The same shoes that cost $70 last year now cost $85 or more for the identical product. Nothing changed except the tariff. Category 4. Food and groceries. This one affects every single household, regardless of income level. Imported foods, ingredients, and even packaging materials have all seen price increases that trace directly back to tariff costs. Category 5. Building materials. This category carries some of the heaviest tariff rates of all. Lumber, steel, aluminum, and copper are all significantly affected. If you are trying to buy a home, renovate, or build anything at all, you are feeling this category more acutely than any other on this list. Category 6. Pharmaceuticals and medical supplies. Many medications and medical devices rely on components or manufacturing from tariffed countries. When healthcare already stretches most budgets, these increases hit especially hard. When you add it all up, economists consistently estimate that the average American household pays approximately $3,800 more per year because of tariff-related price increases. That is over $300 per month, leaving your wallet silently, without announcement, every single month of the year. Here is the concept I really need you to sit with for a moment, because this is where tariffs cross from being an economic policy conversation into being a genuine personal financial emergency for millions of households. Purchasing power is not just about the number sitting in your bank account. It is about what that number can actually buy in the real world. And purchasing power destruction is one of the most dangerous forms of wealth erosion that exists, precisely because it happens gradually and almost completely invisibly. Think about it this way. If someone physically reached into your wallet right now and took $300 in cash, you would notice immediately. You would be outraged. You would do something about it. But when that exact same $300 disappears through price increases spread across dozens of everyday purchases over 12 months, most people barely register what happened. They just feel vaguely more stressed about money, more stretched, more behind, without ever being able to point to exactly why. Your salary might show the same number. Your bank balance might look similar at first glance, but the actual purchasing power of that money has been quietly reduced month after month. You can buy less with the same dollars. Your standard of living slowly erodes without a single dollar being directly taken from you. This is why tariff-driven price increases are so financially dangerous, and why understanding this mechanism and responding to it with a real strategy is one of the most important financial decisions you can make right now. The question is never whether this is happening to you. It is. The question is what you are going to do about it. Now let us talk about what tariffs do to your investments, because this is where things get interesting for people who are paying attention. Tariffs do not just hit your grocery bill and stop there. They send ripple effects through the entire stock market and investment landscape in ways that most casual investors completely miss until it is too late. Here's the core mechanism you need to understand. Companies that rely heavily on imported goods or global supply chains see their costs rise when tariffs increase. Rising costs squeeze profit margins. Squeezed profit margins produce lower earnings. Lower earnings drive lower stock prices. This plays out consistently every single time tariff regimes intensify. If your investment portfolio is heavily weighted toward retail companies, consumer electronics brands, auto manufacturers, or any business deeply dependent on international imports, you are carrying significantly more tariff risk than you probably realize right now. But here's the flip side that most people miss completely. Tariffs also create real winners. Domestic manufacturers suddenly face less foreign competition. American steel producers benefit when imported steel becomes more expensive. Certain agricultural and industrial sectors often see their stock prices rise when tariff walls go up. The investor who understands tariffs is not just asking, how do I survive this environment? They are asking which companies and sectors benefit from this environment and deliberately positioning their portfolio to reflect the real world they are actually living and investing in. A portfolio built for a free trade world is a liability in a tariff-heavy world. The sooner you understand that, the better positioned you become. I want to spend specific time on housing because this is where the tariff impact becomes truly devastating for ordinary working families. And it is the category that gets talked about the least in mainstream coverage. Building a house requires steel, lumber, copper, aluminum, glass, fixtures, and appliances. A significant portion of these materials either come directly from countries facing tariffs or depend on supply chains that have been disrupted and repriced by the current trade environment. The result is that the cost to build a new home has increased by an estimated $20,000 to $30,000 in many markets purely because of tariff-related material cost increases. That cost does not disappear. It gets passed directly to the buyer through higher asking prices on every new home. And if you're already struggling with elevated mortgage rates on top of already high home prices, adding another $25,000 to the purchase price of an average home can push homeownership completely out of reach for millions of people who were already barely qualifying. This is not a side effect of tariffs. This is a direct and entirely predictable consequence of taxing the raw materials that houses are built from. And it is one of the most significant invisible contributors to the housing affordability crisis affecting millions of families right now. Now let us look at what businesses actually do in response to tariffs, because understanding their playbook helps you predict where prices are heading next. And prediction is power when it comes to your finances. Businesses facing tariff cost increases have essentially 4 options, and most large companies pursue all 4 at the same time. Option 1 is the most immediate and the most directly painful for you. Raise prices. Pass the tariff cost straight to consumers. This is the path of least resistance, and it is why you are paying more for almost everything right now. This happens fast, sometimes within weeks of a new tariff announcement. Option 2 is to find new suppliers in countries not facing tariffs. Vietnam, India, Mexico, and other manufacturing nations have seen enormous surges in orders from companies trying to root around specific tariff walls. This takes months to years to fully implement and comes with its own transition costs. Option 3 is to absorb some costs and accept lower profit margins. This hurts shareholders and reduces stock prices, but helps retain customers in competitive markets. You see this most in industries where price sensitivity is extremely high. Option 4 is the most significant long-term development you should be watching. Moving production back to the United States or to allied countries. This is expensive, slow, and complex, but it is genuinely happening. And it will reshape parts of the American economy over the coming decade in ways we are only beginning to see. The critical point is this. All 4 of these responses carry costs, and one way or another, every single one of those costs eventually flows to consumers, investors, or workers through higher prices, lower returns, or reduced wages. There is no version of this story where tariffs are free. Alright, this is the part of the video that actually changes your situation, not just understanding the problem, but having a concrete plan to deal with it. Here are 8 specific strategies smart people use when tariffs are running hot. Strategy 1. Buy domestic where it makes genuine financial sense. This is not about politics or patriotism. It is about avoiding the tariff markup that imported goods carry. Products made and sourced domestically do not carry that premium. In many categories, the price gap between imported and domestic has actually narrowed because imports have gotten so expensive. Strategy 2. Review and reposition your investments toward domestic sectors that benefit from a tariff environment. Companies that produce domestically and sell domestically often see revenue increases when imports become more expensive. Make your portfolio reflect the economic reality you are actually living in. Strategy 3. Increase your savings rate right now before more price increases arrive. Not next month. Now, every dollar you add to your financial buffer today is a dollar of flexibility and protection tomorrow. Strategy 4. Delay major discretionary purchases where you have any flexibility. Cars, appliances, electronics, and home improvements are all heavily tariff affected. A 6 to 12-month delay on a major purchase could save you thousands as supply chains adjust and competition responds. Strategy 5. Focus on building your income rather than only cutting your spending. When prices rise consistently, the most powerful financial response is to increase what comes in, not just reduce what goes out. A 10% income increase beats a 10% spending cut in almost every scenario. Strategy 6. Diversify your investment portfolio internationally. While domestic sectors may benefit from tariff walls, having exposure to markets and currencies outside the US provides a meaningful hedge against dollar purchasing power erosion over time. Strategy 7. Hold real assets. Real estate, commodities, and other tangible assets historically preserve purchasing power during periods of tariff-driven inflation far better than cash sitting in a standard low-yield savings account. Strategy 8. Invest in skills that command premium pay. The most powerful inflation and tariff hedge available to any individual is being so genuinely valuable in the labor market that your income grows faster than prices do. Upskill aggressively and continuously. Let us get specific about how to think about your investment portfolio when tariffs are a sustained feature of the economic landscape. The first instinct many people have during any economic uncertainty is to move everything to cash and wait for things to settle down. And I completely understand that instinct. It feels safe, it feels conservative, it feels responsible. But in a high tariff and elevated inflation environment, cash is actually one of the worst places to park your money for any extended period. Because while you sit and wait, your purchasing power quietly erodes. You did not lose money on paper, but you lost ground in the real world. Here's a framework for thinking about portfolio positioning when tariffs are running hot. Domestic value stocks in industries that benefit from, or are simply insulated from tariff headwinds, deserve a meaningful allocation. American manufacturers, domestic energy companies, financial services, and healthcare services businesses are examples worth examining. Real assets including real estate, commodities, and physical infrastructure have historically outperformed during inflationary and tariff-driven price increase periods. They hold intrinsic value that paper currency alone cannot. International diversification matters more in a high tariff environment than in a free trade one. Not every economy is equally affected by domestic tariff policy. Exposure to allied or emerging market economies with strong internal growth provides genuine balance. High-yield cash equivalents like treasury bills and money market funds should hold whatever short-term reserves you need. Never let significant cash sit earning near zero, while meaningful inflation runs above it. And inflation-protected securities are specifically engineered to maintain purchasing power as prices rise. In a tariff-driven price increase environment, they earn a place in most thoughtful portfolios. This is a framework for educational thinking, not personal financial advice. Your situation is unique, and a qualified advisor should always guide specific decisions. Let me zoom out and give you the context that makes this entire conversation make sense long-term. Because tariffs are not a temporary blip that will simply reverse and disappear. The global economy has been shifting from the free trade era that defined the 90s and early 2000s toward a more protectionist and domestically focused model for well over a decade now. This is not one administration's policy. It is a structural shift in how nations think about trade, economic security, supply chain resilience, and geopolitical independence from potential rivals. And the arguments for this shift are genuinely real. Domestic job creation, supply chain security, reducing dependence on potentially hostile trading partners, and rebuilding industrial capacity are legitimate policy goals with genuine national benefits. The costs are equally real. Higher consumer prices, reduced purchasing power, slower economic growth, and the constant risk of retaliatory trade actions from other nations that hurt American exporters are documented and consistent consequences. Here is what all of this means for your personal finances, regardless of where you stand politically on this debate. The tariff environment is real. The purchasing power impact on your household is real. And waiting for politics to resolve itself before you take any action is the most expensive financial decision you can possibly make. Whoever wins the political debate about tariffs, your financial well-being requires a strategy, not an opinion. Let us turn everything covered today into a clear action plan you can start on immediately. Not sometime, not when things calm down. Now, step 1. Audit your spending and identify specifically where tariffs are hitting your household the hardest. Look at your last 3 months of expenses: groceries, vehicles, electronics, clothing, home costs. Calculate roughly how much more you are paying compared to 18 months ago. You cannot address what you have not measured. Step 2. Increase your savings rate by at least 5% this month, not next month, this month. Building a stronger financial buffer before more price increases arrive is one of the highest return moves available to you right now. Step 3. Review your investment portfolio specifically for tariff risk exposure. Are you overweighted in import-dependent sectors? Do you have any allocation to domestic beneficiary sectors? This review alone could meaningfully change your investment outcomes. Step 4. Postpone big-ticket purchases in heavily tariffed categories. Where you have any flexibility, cars, appliances, electronics, and home renovations are all significantly affected. A strategic delay could save you thousands. Step 5. Start or accelerate an additional income stream. When prices rise faster than wages, the most powerful financial response available to any individual is to increase what comes in. One new income stream changes the entire equation. Step 6. Invest in a high-value skill right now. The person whose income consistently grows faster than prices is protected from purchasing power erosion in a way that no saving strategy alone can fully match. The best time to act was before the prices started rising. The second best time is exactly right now. Let us bring everything together. Tariffs are not an abstract economic policy that lives in textbooks and government reports. They are a direct and measurable tax on your household purchasing power, playing out in your grocery bill, your car payment, your mortgage, and your investment portfolio every single day. The average American household loses approximately $3,800 per year in purchasing power to tariff-driven price increases. That is real money, requiring a real and deliberate response. The people who come out ahead when tariffs run hot are not the ones who understand the political debate the best. They are the ones who understand the economic mechanism, adjust their spending and savings behavior accordingly, reposition their investments intelligently toward the actual winners in the current environment, and build their income and skills aggressively enough to outrun the price increases. That is the game. And now you know how to play it better than most people ever will. Before you go, I want you to do one specific thing right now. Drop a comment below and tell me which of the 6 action steps you are starting today. Not this week, not sometime, today. I read every single comment on this channel, and I will personally reply to yours. And listen, if this video gave you genuine clarity on something that has been confusing or stressful about your financial situation, do one thing for me. Share it with one person in your life who needs to hear this. Your friend who is struggling with grocery costs, your family member who is trying to buy a home, your colleague who has no idea why their money does not go as far as it used to. One share from you could completely change how someone you actually care about navigates their finances from this point forward. That is not an exaggeration. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Because every single week we go this deep on the financial topics that actually affect your real life. No fluff, no hype, just the truth and what to do with it. This is Kasongo. Protect your purchasing power, build your income, stay ahead of the game, and I will see you in the next one.